realised that you were all going to be here and I wasn't going to be here. And I had a bit of a panic earlier this week, so no, we can't have that. So late entries to the agenda, but I'm so glad to be here because I'm a huge supporter, as you know, of GM cancer. And actually, isn't it great to be in the city at the moment? We've got, hopefully, Premier League winners on the way again. Any City fans in the divisive. We won't talk about the theatre of streams. That's for a different day, isn't it, that one? And also, we've got a venue that opened last night. That's good as well, isn't it? And that's a bit of progress. But I was re-elected, and I am definitely re-energised, and I think that gives us another opportunity to set out where we go from here. Because I think I was standing before you in 2019, pre-pandemic, saying we were going to bring forward Live Well with Cancer. Does anybody remember that? And we have got it going, not as quickly as we would have liked. I think Michelle is going to give an update later. But now is the time really to go for that idea and really bring it through. And to be honest with you, for those of you, anybody read my election manifesto? I'm going to test you all now to find out whether you did or not. We put Live Well as one of the big ideas at the heart of the manifesto, because I believe we've hit a point here where we need to rethink how we support people, how we help people, how we empower people. I know that's the theme of your conference today. How we empower people to have the life that they want to have. And the Live Well concept now is really coming through as a Greater Manchester big idea in this next mayoral term. And the work we've already done on Live Well with Cancer is kind of a forerunner of it. The truth of the matter is that the pandemic hit us harder than other parts of the country. We all know that, we all feel that at the time and since. And our NHS obviously is in a difficult place. There's no hiding away from that fact. Because we had a bigger impact in terms of COVID, obviously the hangover from that in terms of waiting times and waiting lists is bigger. The pressure on primary care was bigger and is bigger. So it's been tough, and it's frustrating, to be honest, that more recognition wasn't given of that. In terms of the harder we were hit, the more help I think we were due to help us get out of that position, and that hasn't been forthcoming. And it feels to me that the NHS has gone, as I speak as a former health secretary, back into some of its old default mode of just top-down issue the instructions and require all the savings, and I'm not sure that gets us where we want to get to, and that is, if I'm honest with you, a bit of a frustrating place that we've found ourselves, and it has disrupted some of our plans. Anyway, it is more positive though, because we are coming back now as a Greater Manchester system to say, well, let's come at this a different way. Let's think about how we bring through this Live Well concept with the power and the opportunity that we've got. And what has changed since I last spoke to you is the Greater Manchester system has signed a new trailblazer devolution deal with the government. From next April, we will move to a funding arrangement with Whitehall that is more similar to Wales or Scotland, where we will receive our funding in a block of funding, and we'll have more flexibility over how that funding is spent. So what we want to do to support our colleagues in the NHS is take a big step towards prevention, a big step towards working differently in our communities, working with all of our community, voluntary, social enterprises in our communities to bring through that Live Well idea. As Mayor, re-elected, I will be going to the government to say, you know what, it's not just about using the money we've already got differently, let's have some devolution from the DWP. Because I believe if we have more control of that funding and the support funding that comes with it, we could kind of bring that together with our social prescribing funding and other funding streams that we've got to create a single Live Well service that is about supporting people in every aspect of their every aspect of their lives, working through local organisations based here in our communities, rather than through third parties who perhaps don't have the same level of commitment to our city region. So Live Well is absolutely coming back to the fore. And to be honest, I don't think we can cope with what we're seeing in the NHS unless we think differently about prevention in our communities, creating health in people's homes, people's communities, supporting them to live as well as they can possibly live in the circumstances that they are in. And Live Well with Cancer is, if you like, at the forefront of all of that thinking. And I remain of the view that I do want to see how we can support people with, for instance, transport costs, which was a part of this, an idea that was first put to me a number of years ago. Have you ever heard me mention yellow buses? Are you aware that I've been doing something about that? Well, the other difference is, since I last spoke, we do have now buses back under public control in 50% of Greater Manchester, and the rest will follow in January next year. And when you control your transport system, it's really interesting what you then can do, isn't it, to support people with the cost of it. So I did commit at the election to a carers pass, and we'll be bringing that through. So for people who can only get out if they have a full-time carer with them, we're going to bring in a concessionary pass to support carers. But I am looking at whether or not we can support people living with cancer with those transport costs, to see if we then can get that concept really clear. That cancer doesn't shut down your life, does it? And it mustn't do that, must it? It mustn't be a kind of situation where people feel that everything's got to change and the things that you love to do have got to be closed off. That's the opposite of what we want here in Greater Manchester. You know, we've got to build on our successes. The amazing Prehab for Cancer scheme, which you know remains a real passion of mine. You know, send a different message to people. You know, kind of get out there and be active and be yourself and support people to live the life they want to live, because then they'll be in a better position to face the challenge that comes with cancer. And that's what we're all about, pioneering that different way of thinking, that different way of approaching these issues, taking all of the brilliant work that's going on in our community and voluntary sector. So I still see, the reason why I'm standing here before you and why I wanted to change my diary to come to speak to you today is to say that Live Well with Cancer still remains at the kind of forefront of my thinking. Our agenda going forward is about creating a different city region where transport works for people, where we're raising standards in people's homes, and where we're supporting people with training and opportunity that they need. And that's the agenda that we're all about, putting people at the heart of everything, supporting people to live different lives. And we hope we can prove that concept with your support and with your help. And I think Michelle's going to talk about that shortly. So we do have big challenges, but this is an exciting place to be right now. I'm so lucky to be re-elected to kind of represent this city region and take it forward. When I look around this room and I kind of feel all the support that's around and what everybody wants, which is this place to do things differently and set a new lead. I know when we, as one city region, stand together, line up together, facing the same direction, and when we all pull in the same direction, then this place can change the world. And that's what we're going to do in the next few years. So thanks very much for listening, everybody, and I'll hand back to